Welcome back to Broken Unicorn Podcast,
Where our minds are broken?
where our models are painted. Sometimes.
Never.
Fair point. So, episode 2.
Yes, thank you for the 3 of people who listened to our first one, which we're hoping, evidently, that the audio sounds better this time.
We're playing around with a new microphone setup, and we're still novices. So, yeah, any hints, tips, get in touch. Feedback would be very, very welcome.
So what we were going to talk about is we were actually wanting to talk about this a couple of weeks ago, but we just haven't got around to do it. We watched the first episode. Well, we've now watched the first 3 episodes of the new Mobile Suit Gundam, From Mercury, which seems to be doing quite well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh yeah,
particularly the first episodes and the prologue, which was released initially.
The prologue was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really draws you in, and you feel somewhat invested already.
I felt very emotionally invested in the main characters. What's her name? Soleta. She was also adorable, but not in an annoying way.
Mm-hmm.
She was genuinely really, really...
Yeah, the prologue, just a cute little kid.
So, spoiler warning, we're going to talk about stuff that actually happens.
Yep. If you've not already watched From Mercury, maybe skip this one.
But it has been 6 episodes, including the prologue, so, come on.
Yeah, we're only 3 deep.
Yeah, we're only 3 deep. But so I think just talking about the prologue from what we recall when we watched that and how we felt about that.
Yeah, I mean, the style of animation is really nice. It's a little bit different for a Gundam series. The character design feels a little bit sort of softer.
And kind of reminiscent in the way of Gino Reconquista.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's not quite the same, but it's got that softness, but the plot makes more sense.
Yeah.
Which has always been my issue with Gino Reconquista. I really love the style. I like the kind of Ghibli-esqueness.
Yeah, it looks great.
But it's so confusing. What the hell is going on and who is who? Yeah,
it's quite hard to follow.
It's pretty hard.
The mobile suit designs, I thought were fantastic.
I quite like the G-Self. I know there's been a lot of people who want a Master Grade G-Self, and it actually won the poll when they did... Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they did a poll for what this should be the next Master Grade Verka, which I think that was around the time they released the Double Zeta Verka, and the G-Self won that public poll, and everyone was going, "Oh, hopefully that's going to be the next Verka." It wasn't. I'll come on to that maybe after this, people's kind of general opinion of the new Verka. But anyway, so yeah, I think I would really love to see a Master Grade of the G-Self.
Yeah. I mean, if they did a fully loaded out G-Self Master Grade.
Or even the one with the Perfect Pack, which is near the end.
Yeah.
But it would be nice. And they love doing kits that have add-ons. Excuse the squeaking chair.
Sorry.
But they do love that now. They really love add-on packs because it's more moolah.
Yeah, they do tend to lead into special edition stuff through bandai, it's a bit annoying when you live in the UK. It's harder to get a hold of, and when you do get a hold of it, it's just nosebleed expensive.
If you're listening, you don't know the nature of how we get it, because so in the US, you have a USP Bandai store, so you can just get them there. It's mostly just down to getting sure you pre-order in time. And then you have Japan, Malaysia, and China. Mm-hmm. For us, retailers can't buy stock from them. They have to, when they buy it to sell to people in Europe, they buy it at RRP and then have to mark it up to make their money.
Yeah.
And that's why, because unless you know someone who can get the stock from you, in whatever country, either in Asia or in America, mm-hmm. there's no way to get it. Mm-hmm. So that can be very frustrating.
Just a bit.
Especially when their kits were I really liked they released a high grade, was it Spallo Razor? Mm-hmm. Well, high grade Razor, and there's another one that comes in the box, which I wasn't as fussed about, but I just really love the Razor design.
Yeah.
And there's no Master Grade, and I always, if I can, I'll always go for a Master Grade where possible.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There is no Master Grade version. I saw someone who did a conversion, which was really gorgeous. But it can be frustrating. We're diverging.
Sorry, you're just talking about Master Grades.
Sorry.
I'm looking at part of the Tower of Doom on our top shelf here.
Uh-huh.
And I've got a high grade kit at the bottom that I would really love to see a master grade of.
It'd be so well. It'd be as big as a Zasby. He's talking about the Messer, which is a very big high grade, kind of on the same
sort of size as your average master grade, or almost the same size.
Yes, almost the same size. It's in the same. You've got there's an age 1 normal master grade above it, and the boxes the age 1 normals box is smaller. For anyone who's never actually observed the size difference, the Messer is
it's a big chunky set.
It's coming off the back of things like the Zasby and stuff, which were, when you compare them to particularly the mobile suits in the anime, so Char's like Zaku, and then you look at his kind of penultimate mobile suit is the Zasby, and you're going by the I think it's a novelization or manga which has the Nightingale, which is much, much bigger, and that's where you get the high new from, versus just new.
Does the Nightingale not class as a mobile armor?
I think it still counts as a mobile suit, but I may be wrong. If I had to classify it by observing alone, I would say it's a mobile armor.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I would have thought mobile armor, but anyway, we're diverging far too much. We have digressed.
I would like to, if anyone is by any chance going to comment, what is your opinion? And the Nightingale is a mobile. There's probably an official specification, and I'm not even going to bother looking up because I'm curious people's opinion on that. Is it a mobile armor or is it a mobile suit? Because that's a good question. So we were watching the From Mercury prologue when it came out on Gundam Info. Really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Felt very emotionally attached to all the characters, even the ones that at the moment we don't know if they're going to reappear. Spoilers, it's like you get full Disney treatment here. Full Disney treatment. One of the parents dies, and it was very sad and emotional. The animation was great. The fight scene that you get at the end was really good. The Liftrith looks really gorgeous, and obviously the Liftrith is very similar to the Ariel, which you'll see in the series when you get there if you haven't already started. It's basically almost more or less a pink version and has almost exact same abilities that we've seen so far.
Like a repaint, basically.
From what I've gathered, they explained that was it Gund Arm or something?
No.
Gund Tech.
Okay, it's Gund technology or Gund format as they refer to the Gund format.
Okay.
And as it's discovered in like episode 3 or 4, Gund technology has been basically outlawed. It's been banned.
But that was the background plot that was happening in the prologue, which was they were outlawing it in it. They were running it through kind of like government outlaw, and it seems to be kind of a neural interface situation. I mean, something like that.
My speculation is that Gun format uses some in-universe version of like a psycho frame, because
like Minovsky particles or
something like that.
Yeah.
And they refer to the main character as a witch, and there's talk of witches. So I'm assuming witches are going to be this version's new type.
Yeah, which I love it as a kind of way of going about it.
Yeah, and as you discover in the prologue, the main character is naturally able to kind of commune with the Lifrith.
Yeah, they've been having her mother is the primary pilot from what I can remember.
Or at least the test pilot.
And she's been running, there's like layer tests or something. They have to keep going deeper and deeper. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It sounded very sci-fi techno.
I think it was very... Well, for me, I thought it was a bit more apparent that it was seeing the level to which you could interface with the mobile suit.
Pressure tests.
Like pressure tests, or like, referencing one of my favourites, Iron-Blooded Orphans, there's, like, the amount you can interface with a mobile suit if you use the Alea Vignana system, it can disable you over time because of the way it feeds back through the body. So I think it's a similar thing, but more kind of new typey interaction.
Yeah, you've got, I guess, because there's no new type equivalent in...
Sorry, excuse the creaking again.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess that idea, there's the layers, it's the pressure, and to get it to work properly, you need to be able to go through, I think, every layer of this interface. And she sits in the cockpit and it just responds to her. And there's very much this idea that she communes with it as a being.
Yeah.
Like this is maybe some kind of AI system. She does she operate it, or is her mother operates it? But
her mother's operating it, and they're in a position where they need to activate the version of a funnel weapon system, and the mother's waiting for it to power up, and the kid just touches the interface, and it all activates.
And she's only 4. She's absolutely adorable.
This tiny little kid hits the kill switch, basically.
And she's just, and because you see the look in the mother's face when she does it and kills someone, the wee girl doesn't know what she's done, and I thought that was really nice that you call it this element of like,
there's an emotional impact.
There's the horrors, like she's like, I don't want my daughter to be a monster.
Yeah.
And I think that was really noticeable. I'm just adjusting this so we can, you're like moved quite far back. But yeah, I recall that now, that there was definitely this look like, oh no, what have I done? This is not what I want from my child.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those things that you do get a little bit of that in Gundam, is always the kind of the morality. It's basically child soldiers for the most part.
Yeah, it's like that I can recall in terms of, if we exclude like expanded Universal Century, the oldest that I can think of is main character from G Gundam, and I've completely Daemon Kasu.
Don't know.
Anyway, I think he's the oldest, and I think he was in his early 20s. Otherwise, you're normally looking at main characters that are about 14.
Yeah,
which I think's about the age of Soleta.
I think
Soleta Mercury.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's about the age she's meant to be, somewhat like maybe 14, 15.
Yeah, because her story's sort of following her at a sort of an academy.
Yeah, I think. Do you want to talk any more about the prologue or go into?
I think maybe just let's go into the first episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, I like that they didn't set on trying to explain everything really drawn out. And often you find an anime that look like, oh, you have to wait 5 minutes to get into it. It's like, well, no, I don't want it. That's bad writing.
Yeah, episode 1, it throws you in at the deep end, and not in a bad way.
She's in the school within probably about 4 minutes.
Yeah,
and she's like actually there and interacting with students, which I was a little bit like, oh, we're going to go into the school trope thing. And there is elements of it where for some reason school council has way too much power, but that's actually nothing to do with it. They're all the kids backed by companies. So it's actually, they're using their kids, and they're clearly using the school as a mean of a scapegoat or something to get their means or something. I'm not sure. We're 2 episodes behind.
Okay. From what I gathered, it's every sort of company has an investment in the mobile suits that they're allowing the kids to use at school.
They all have like a rep, like
they're like the head of a family almost.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually the character's parents, but there's what looks like corporate losses if, say, one of the kids at school loses a duel with one of the company's mobile suits. It affects the company, which affects their reputation.
Because their mobile suit lost the fight. So it's like, well, that's not good, because then obviously it must affect the value of the company, because their mobile suits, they're using their kids as a testing ground.
Yeah, it's also weird that they've kind of shoehorned. I feel it's been a bit shoehorned into the whole chivalric system. They can challenge each other to duels because
it's a bit weird.
Yeah, because of like, slights or an argument or, girlfriends.
It's a little bit in that annoying anime school thing where the kids have too much power. It's like, I don't recall ever encountering a teacher as of yet, or any school classes.
Not yet.
No. We've watched 3 episodes excluding the prologue, and I cannot think of any classes. So far I do love that she's really awkward, but she's trying really hard. And I'm hoping she grows. I'm hoping that's not how her character maintains, because there's always a risk that that's just going to be who she is. And I feel like she needs to evolve, and I'm hoping that happens.
You have seen a little bit of evolution by episode 3.
A wee bit, but she's still
she's very apologetic, but she'll still stand her ground.
She's chivalrous.
Yeah,
she's chivalrous. And I really love. So I think it was episode 3 brings up she has a list. She's never been to school, and she's not really interacted with children from the impression we've been given.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a list of things she wants to do while she's at school, and there's something really endearing I find about it. I was like, this could be really lame, but it comes across as very endearing. She wants to go on a date. Mm-hmm. She wants to make friends. There was one she wants to just like shake hands or something. There's something about handshake. They're all very things that you would probably do mostly if you were a small child, and she's obviously never really had a chance to do it, because she's in the start of it, like a research station, and I think she's the only child there, and there's a thing for her, is it her mum or her dad's birthday?
Her mum's? Oh,
maybe it's her dad's, or was it her? It's not her birthday, is it? Oh no, it was, because we got confirmed her age. I can't remember. There was a birthday with her family, so either her father, or herself had a birthday in the prologue.
You ever get the impression we should have taken notes before we did this?
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I know. But we were going to rewatch the first episode, and we're talking about prologue a lot. But it was really good. It was
very good. I have to say, I'm generally quite skeptical about things coming out these days. There's a lot of stuff that's been rehashed, and it's nice when there's something from a franchise like Gundam that really grabs you, even just from a prologue episode. And that, I think that's the thing that works for me with this, is it felt like it was something fresh
but relatable.
Yeah.
I personally wasn't as big a fan, particularly of the design from Iron Blooded Orphans, which this has a lot of similar vibes, but I'm more into the mobile suit designs overall.
Oh, the mobile suit designs in this are cool. There's a nice variance. You've got the kind of grunt suits that you've seen.
I'm never going to remember how to pronounce any of the names, because it's full on Xeon weird names shit going on here.
I don't know if that's to do with the name or your dyslexia.
It could be, but I remember there's like Garandagaloo lads.
Yes.
You're going to look it up, are you? Because fuck knows.
Yes, I'm looking that up. But yeah, the hold on.
You're looking at what? We're just trying to find. Which one are you looking for? The pink one or red one?
Yeah, Gule's mobile suit.
Gule's,
which is the Delanza.
Totally a normal name.
And the Darabaldi.
The
Darabaldi's the repair one. After he loses the jewel in the first.
The one episode. I really like.
The red one, not the pink
one.
With
the shoulders that are funnels.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was episode. Was that episode 2 or episode 3?
Episode 2.
I thought episode 2 didn't have really. No, it's episode 3, because episode 2 doesn't have any fights. I recall going, wait a minute, episode 2 had no fights. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but when you're watching things like this, you don't want to wait a week to actually see the big robots fight, because you're really there for the big robots.
Well, yeah, they made that mistake with that goddamn awful unicorn series.
The OVA, the series, I'm sure. Neither of us have watched the OVA version, which I'm assuming has a bit more breaking up.
Oh, I'd hope
the OVA was like, you're waiting sometimes a year for an episode, and then it was just talking. And I get, if you're like 40 or 50 and you've been into Gundam since it first got released, and you've really grown with it and all the elements, and you've watched all the UC, it might be a bit more, but like for me, first time I watched Gundam was Gundam Wing.
I don't know anyone within our immediate sort of social group that didn't have a hard time with watching that, because it was so dry. Now, I'm nearly 40, and that to me is one of those things, like, I like a bit of substance to things I'm watching. Something, okay, granted, sometimes I will just sit and watch absolute garbage. You know,
you do enjoy it. I've come home before and going like, look, you're watching zombie garbage.
Yes.
It's like, what's this? Don't know. It's shit, but I'm enjoying it.
Yes. It's terrible stuff I found on Amazon. That could be another episode, terrible stuff I found on Amazon.
We do know what we're doing our next episode on, and to be honest, we should probably record it tonight, because it'll be relevant tomorrow, even though we probably won't have it up, but
yeah,
we might just record it afterwards.
But yeah, Unicorn, as much as the design of the Unicorn has a lot of fans, and I don't know, it never really grabbed me. The combat in it was good, but as far as the storyline went, and the whole Laplace's box, really? I waited how long to find out?
What could have it been? I'm trying to think in terms of what it was meant to be about. It does, in that universe, it has a significant effect to the social economic issues, but what could it have been outside of that? And then you've got narrative, which is better and happens like not long after it. But yeah, narrative happens and it's got lots of fighting. This is the movie, and it's very similar, and it has some of the same characters appearing.
It seemed like Guillermo del Toro once used the term "so much farting for so little shit," which I think that sums up Unicorn perfectly. But again, open in comments. I will argue my point on it, but I'm happy to hear other people's takes on it. But yeah, thought, oh God. I mean, I mentioned it in our last podcast. That moment when you've watched an hour-long episode and at the end of it, you're like, oh, damn, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
But I never felt like that watching any other Gundam series, so it's...
So, the witch and her,
Yes, the
her witch and gang in space.
Yes.
So yeah, we did really enjoy the first episode. It very much went, okay, we're into this. The growing relationship with her and the girl who she tries to save at the start, which then she gets angry about, but then we now realise that she wants to leave. She wants to escape and go to Earth. There's a lot of talk about Earth, and the impression given is Earth is a nice place, whereas often Earth is a bit of a shithole.
In the first episode, when you're introduced to her character, it's Miorini.
Oh, I don't know the names. I'm giving I never remember Gundam characters' names unless they're like just said all the time. Like Banazher, I can remember.
Yeah, Miorini.
Miorin.
Yeah, okay. Anyway,
I don't know. Let's just call him Mori. Mori like Mori Povich.
She's the daughter of the Rembrandt organization.
Who's the president?
He's the president that presides over all the other corporations.
And the guy who's in the jail in the first one, his dad is actually planning on assassinating him, but then decides not to. I can't remember why, but the assassination is it because of the jail? The assassination doesn't go through.
I think so.
Because he's got apparently like he's leaving the station, the school, however you want to phrase it. On a ship, and there's definitely something.
Yeah, there was call to, I think, blow it up or torpedo it. But when you first meet Miorini, her character is floating in space outside the school, waiting to be picked up, but is rescued by Sulieta. In the aerial.
You get to see the aerial actually fly within about like a minute or so into the episode. She just goes for it, which are basically, it seems like there's like almost nothing to stop these kids from doing what the hell they want, which is a bit, I do find that sometimes you need to just go, okay, 15-year-olds, you can't just do what you want, and especially in the circumstance they're in. It's not like Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Yeah.
It's not like Gundam Wing or something, or Gundam Seed, where they are actually military officers. These are literally skilled kids who have been trained to pilot mobile suits.
But yeah, as far from what we've seen of the little wedge of this world,
we've seen 3 episodes in a prologue.
From that wedge, it's very corporate. The corporations ruling everything.
Yeah.
And Sulieta's mother is...
She's the head. She's a rep from one of these organizations.
I think she's the sort of head honcho from one of the organizations based on Mercury.
Yeah.
And the gist that you get is Mercury's not a very big player.
No.
It seems to be, because it's plagued by magnetic storms, and it's a very dangerous place to live with very little resource. And it plays into the story quite nicely when you're introduced to Sulieta's mother, and she's the kind of Char of the series from what we've seen so far. She's got the headgear that covers her face, and you don't know it's her mother until a scene later on where you see her taking.
I didn't remember what her mother looked like in the prologue. I was like, was that our mum?
Yeah.
Was her hair color from her dad? Was it her dad? She got her hair color?
She got her hair color from her dad.
Yeah.
Because
she's got red hair. If you're not watching, you're just listening, so you've never seen it. She has red hair. Her mum has like dark brown hair.
And again, it's Disneyfied, so of course the kid's going to look like one of the parents more than the other.
Yeah, well, she looks like in the prologue. She kind of looked like her mum, but with her dad's hair color. Because I think her dad had curly hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's her dad. Her mum's the Shard. She. I still don't really get what the point she was trying to make, but she takes off. I think they're talking about trust, and she takes off her robotic arm, which uses gun
technology. Yeah.
And was it something? Well, she says something about her face, but then when she takes off her helmet, there's nothing wrong. She makes out that she's got something. She
claims that there was a storm on Mercury that she lost her arm and most of her face to, and it later turns out that the headgear she's wearing is just a kind of disguise really.
Yeah. Because she was missing a leg and an arm in the prologue, I believe. She was definitely missing an arm that I can recall.
I can't remember. It's been a while.
I think she was wearing just like a vest and like shorts or something when she was like working, and I think you see like a metal leg.
Okay.
And she has a robotic arm which uses this tech, which we don't quite at this stage, at least when we've watched it, fully understand what their issue is with this tech.
I get the impression it's something that is a kind of cerebral interface with it, because I suppose if you're going to make prosthetic limbs, it has to work with your...
But when what's the fear? That's like, so they're lying as well, because they're saying it's not an Ariel, isn't a Gundam, and it is using that tech, so they're just all out lying. I don't even know if Celeste knows that. It would make sense that she's not good at keeping secrets.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have some surprise in the next few episodes. I think there's gonna be more stuff that's gonna come out of the woodwork. I'm really looking forward to seeing more mobile suits, because there's such a nice variety of them. Mm-hmm. And from what we've seen of the toy line the model kits that have been released so far, it'd be nice to see them on screen.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. Reviews I've seen, they're really good high-grade kits. I'm hoping, because there's been so many series that have just got no master grades, and it's very annoying, so I'm hoping that it'll be popular enough that we'll get at least a master grade Ariel. The fact that Iron Blooded Orphans focus so much on film mechanics, and as much as film mechanics can look nice, there's just the satisfaction is not the same.
I've still not built the Barbatos Lupus that I have, but I may do that this week. It's one of those kits that I really wanted the Lupus Rex, but getting a hold of them was really tricky at the time. Managed to get a hold of the Lupus, and yeah, it looks fairly basic, but I still think it'll be satisfying enough to build.
You got in terms of other recent film mechanics, you had the Razor, which I'm not looking at reviews of, but if it's anything like the Calamity, that's quite good, but it's got a lot of black on it. So in terms of detailing it yourself, in terms of just using panel lining, you're limited because it's got lots of black in it.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop you whipping the paint out.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But in terms of, people who
it's just part separation,
they just panel line. Which can look great if you take your time. It can look fantastic. Oh, yeah. I'm not dissing that doing that because I've done it. So I often just do that myself. So yeah, I'd be curious. I hope they give some master. I would like to see the Ariel master grade. Obviously, we're going to eventually see an upgraded version of the Ariel at some point. About halfway through the show, we'll probably hear about that maybe in the next month or so.
Probably, yeah.
Usually you see information about that before. I'm hoping it's the case because the G-Self never got that, but it was struggling as the show was just kind of not doing great. Yeah. And also it was trying to reflect a lot back on the original series where there was no upgrade halfway through.
Thing that surprised me with talking about other things not getting master grades, the Hathaway movie.
Well, it's huge.
Yes, but the fact that we just had high grades of them, I'd speculate we're going to see master grades at some point of the kits.
What though?
What? The Penelope.
You think we're going to get a master grade Penelope?
The Zai.
A master grade Penelope.
Yep.
It would be bigger than a perfect grade.
So?
It'd be absolutely...
You could still make them?
I like the idea, but I think that falls into the line of people just being hopeful. Like, I saw someone recently say today, they were talking about someone had posted information, it was like date information on the Strike Freedom MGEX, which I'm really not impressed with because it's like making 5 different colours of gold. Injection plastic is really not that big a deal and not really worth it. And someone said, well, I'm waiting for a perfect grade Unleashed. It's like, we've had one perfect grade Unleashed, one, and you're being hopeful that specific kit, the only hope you can have is you're probably going to get I would say just because of the nature of the line, it'll be a Sharzaki if we're going to get one. But there has only been 2 MGEXs. There's only one. Think about how many actual perfect grades there is, let alone perfect grade Unleashed. It could be 5 years until we get another perfect grade Unleashed, and the odds of it being specifically a Strike Freedom.
I'm not talking about perfect grades. I'm talking about master grades.
I know, but I'm just saying, talking about I want. I just don't see a master grade Penelope. Have you seen the size of the box?
Yeah,
it's fucking huge.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't have one.
You could ride around it like a crazy turkey.
I could ride around on the the perfect grade that we've got sat on the shelf.
Not really, but I think you could actually do it. It's like I remember I calculated how big a master grade Dendrobium would be.
Yeah,
it was big, but it wasn't actually as crazy big as I wanted it because it's 1/100 to 144 to 1/100. It's not that dramatic and significant. If I calculated a perfect grade version, it'd be crazy, or even a mega scale.
Yeah, that'd be
so
fun.
Was it 135? No, it's not 135.
You can whack a motor in it and ride around on it.
Yeah. So it can actually be quite good. You can build it around like a
quad bike.
No, I was going to say like a automated lawnmower. That's a terrible noise.
The but yeah, I'd like to see some Hathaway suits done as. I mean, you could get away with the master grades,
Messer
and
Gustav
Karl.
Yeah,
The Gustav Karl would look great.
I really like Gustav Karl.
Yeah.
I never see, like, I hear Messer Command type. I hear nothing about the Gustav Karl. I know there is a Gustav Karl, but no one seems to care.
The only variant of the Messer I'd like to see is the command one. It doesn't really make much of a difference.
There is a command. What do you mean a variant? There is a P Bandai.
Yeah. But I think the only difference is the legs are slightly different and the head's got
I think the shoulder's different, and I think its equipment's slightly different, but it's mostly just a color change. Which is sometimes like P Bandai. If you like, we've talked to people who don't understand P Bandai. It's like some kits are genuinely unique.
Oh yeah,
but there's not a lot of them are still using different parts. I mean, or parts from other kits.
Something I find really frustrating with P Bandai is when you see the expansion kit for the real grade God Gundam.
Yeah.
I really want to get a hold of a copy of that.
You mean the one with the horse?
The one with the horse and all the effects parts.
Well, but you put an order in for God. I'm probably going to have to message the guy who
I put the order through.
Was it just a deposit?
It was just deposit. I should have been here by now, but
I don't know what's going on. I can check in because I feel like you usually get stuff relatively fast of contact.
Yeah.
You just keep looking back.
Sorry, no,
like wistfully. Monsieur.
I keep forgetting I've got it.
Are you planning on painting it?
I was thinking about painting it, although it does look really cool as is.
You just get to that point where you just want to fucking build it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got what? I've still not built a master grade, and I currently own how many? 2. I got myself I got the Dynamies, and I got the Mobile Gen.
Mobile Gen, I remember seeing the review of that, and that does look gorgeous.
I think the Mobile Gen may be my first master grade build, and I should have some time this sort of week or so to put to the side to build it. I've got a small painting job to do, and then move on from that. But yeah, it's all been high grades and real grades for me up to this point.
I've not built one of the very recent real grades, but I got a bit tired of them just because of the fiddliness.
Oh yeah.
But I've only it's been a wee while since the How New's been out, so I'm wondering if people can talk about how it's working longevity. I know they've moved away from the inner frame system a lot, which is part of why they had so much trouble.
Yeah.
And one of the High New is one of my very favourite mobile suits.
My first real grade, I actually just moved it through from the studio onto our display shelves. That's really not faring well joint wise, and I've had that 2 years now, and the strike's a little bit floppy.
It's not as bad as like the RX-78, but it's known for being.
Well, the RX-78 is still holding up, but that's
doesn't move.
It doesn't move. You pose it and you put it in one place, and you don't play around with it.
No, I don't.
I still haven't put the decals on the RX-78 real grade.
I wouldn't bother at this stage. It'll fall apart. It'll explode.
Yeah.
I just really wouldn't bother.
The Illstrike I bought the Skygrasper for, and you're trying to put all that stuff on it, and it's just everything falls off when you look at it.
This is if anyone doesn't know the story, this is a word of advice. So you may know that you can get additional components. So if you get, say, a real grade, the master grade RM version of the Illstrike, it comes with the Illstrike pack like the real grade does. But you can get separate parts and then put it all together so you can make the perfect strike, which has all the 3 original equipment from Gundam Seed. There is a real grade version of the strike that comes as a P Bandai one, and it's the perfect strike.
Yeah.
And you can put that all together. But if you get just the Skygrasper, which comes with the launcher and the sword pack, it doesn't have the requirements you need to then make the perfect strike,
which is incredibly frustrating.
It seems like is it just a P Bandai slight? Which they seem to just do things. Because I don't know if it's like a completely different build on the backpack, or it's just literally a little bit that just change. I
don't know. From what I can fathom, there's either an adapter that goes into it that allows you to plug everything in, or there's something different on the attachment points on the Illstrike that allows you to plug everything together. Because
I generally don't know what the situation. I just know you can't do that.
Yeah, the gun that comes with the launcher pack is held on an arm that comes around from the backpack, but there's no additional point on that backpack to then plug in the striker pack, and you can't have the sword mounted on the back. It has to be carried. It's something that they should really advertise, because you just make the assumption, oh, if I can get this, it means I can get all the weapons loadout onto the Ailstrike, and then you get it, then you unpack it, and you build it, and then you try and put it on the Ailstrike, and realise, no!
I don't know what the situation is with, say, like the perfect, because there's a perfect Ailstrike, or perfect strike Gundam, perfect grade, perfect strike Gundam, which, like, there's two versions, and there's a more recent version which is apparently much better, which you'd expect with it being new, and that comes with everything. But I think you can do it with the old ones, but it's like, again, separate packs, so you can get a separate one, but they do that thing where they all come together.
Yeah.
But the new version is re-engineered and works better.
Yeah. But yeah, the issue with real grades getting floppy over time is real.
Yeah, real grade syndrome. The struggle is real. The real grade syndrome is the struggle of the real grade struggle is real.
Yeah, especially when you compare them to high grades. I mean, even more modern high grades.
Yeah, there's been some nasty ones with dodgy waste. Like, I've got the Exia Avalanche Dash high grade, which is literally just going to be scrapped at some point for bits. It does utter trash.
Is that a high grade?
It's a high grade. It's utter trash.
I mean,
stickers galore, and it just doesn't fucking stand with all its weight. It's just rubbish.
Well, looking at 2 kits up on the shelf just now, I've got actually 3. An Origin Zaku 2 high mobility. Build divers. No, breakers, Battlelog. Yeah.
Blazing
Gundam. And Schwab Greys from Iron Blooded Orphans, which I'm currently customizing, and it's starting to look pretty good, in my opinion.
It looks like it's wearing sneakers right now.
It does look like it's wearing big chunky sneakers. But as far as build quality is concerned, you can see how things have improved over time. High grades, I mean, the Origin series high grades are damn good things to put together.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that last time. I mean, like, Origin just kits in general, totally worth it.
Yeah, they hold poses. They don't go wobbly. Unlike, I say, the Iron Blooded Orphans kits are a bit on the flimsy side.
It's the tiny waists.
It's a tiny waist,
does not help.
And yeah, if you can get them to balance, they're great. The problem with that kit, before I chopped the feet off and put the new feet on it, was it had tiny little points of contact. So. Yeah. Getting it to pose in any way was always tricky, but...
They should put, the kit should come with, wee rubberized bases for the feet, because that would make a big difference. Imagine they did that.
Like the Goku we have in the living room, just that little thing that clips onto the heel.
Yeah, but that's because it's a specific pose. But if you had, as in literally, the instead of, a plate at the bottom, it was a rubber version of it.
Uh-huh.
So literally the base of the feet of the
kit tacky,
were just a rubber, and that would be really good.
That would have been a great idea for the perfect grade.
Hey, well, any kit.
Yeah,
especially with the small feet.
Yeah.
It would help with backpack. Weight,
backpack weight's always going to be an issue.
It would help stop sliding, so sometimes you just go, it's just...
Oh, yeah, if you put it on a hard wooden shelf or a metal shelf, it's going to...
They just go for an ice skate, and then they crack their crotch.
Ooh. Crack the crotch.
Oh. Gundam, dads.
Anyway, ramble aside, we'll call that mid podcast ramble.
Just ramble. It's just the ramble shamamble.
It should be a title for this podcast.
Ramble shamamble.
Which From Mercury ramble.
It could be a bit more flavorful than that.
Yeah, it could be.
I'll figure it out once I actually post it.
And there I go, umming again.
I'm surprised that we haven't had the cat come and attack the door since we've been recording.
Yeah, he has been oddly quiet. He's really chewing on a Gundam.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the old cat. He's just now sitting there being grumpy, going.
Yeah, true. Possibly chewing on the young cat.
I think that's fine. He needs to put in his place a bit.
Yeah. Oh God, pets and gunpla.
Yes, tell us tell us, the people out there in internet land, about your Gunpla pet stories. We should get a little xylophone. Actually, what would be better is a soundboard with like sci-fi sound effects.
Yeah.
Like, so this is a wee bit of a it's not a segue, we're just a hobby podcast. So I think it's still running right now, but on Destiny 2, it is the Fest of the Lost, which is like a mid-season event. It happens every year. It's Halloween. And every year there's like a weapon from just that event that comes out. And usually the event's not that exciting, but it just comes and happens, and it's a slight change of pace. But they released a sniper rifle in-game called Macabre. So, okay, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Also, they did a public vote for what the armor should be in the armor theme should be for their next set, and it was either monsters or robots, and robots won. Particularly the Titan armor, the chest is from a Zaku. It's got a Zaku shield on its shoulder. Its waist is from an RX-7. Its knees are from an RX-7. Like, it's like, the others don't really have that. The Hunter and the Warlock don't really have it. But the Titan is just straight taken from Gundam, almost all of it. But the gun, the Macabre, the sniper rifle, which luckily people seem to be finding a really good sniper rifle, is got like elements. It's got like a V-fin element on the side, and it's literally, again, very much taken from Gundam. And I saw a video of someone, because I never used sniper rifles in game, but the sound effects when you pull it to your eye, it's like mechanical sound of a robot moving in Gundam, and then the blast is the sound of a blast from it. It's like totally taken from it, and that alone sells it. It's like, this is just a Gundam sniper rifle sound effects soundboard thing. Mm-hmm. So that was a weird segue, but it's just fun. It's just a fun thing when it happened.
I mean, not being a non-Destiny player and seeing it was quite fun. Something a bit different.
Yeah, like there's lots of theme stuff, but just in terms of even the sound effects being themey, mm-hmm. That's quite cool. Yeah. You do get things that really make fun noises and stuff and make it more satisfying, but there's just something very satisfying. And that's probably nowhere near what it was meant to sound like, but that's sort of going to find the video and holding up to a mic, which I'm not going to do.
Yeah. You were very excited about it when it came out.
I just thought it was a really fun thing. Like, admittedly, like, I have barely played the season, the Festival of the Lost, because there's just not a lot to do. Mm-hmm. Well, there's stuff to do. It's just not that different. That's been a problem. It's kind of been the same thing, and people have even, I think, at this point, they missed the thing they used to, which was the haunted forest, which is now a sunset. Was sunset vaulted or sunset content, because it was on a location that's currently not available. Okay. So you don't have access to that event anymore. So now it's just things called haunted lost sectors, which are just, they're not the same as lost sectors, but it's just not very much to do. Yeah. Like, it's just not different enough. Again, it's an event that even if you don't pay for a season, you still get. Okay. So you could just go like, well,
it's free content.
It's kind of free. It's sort of free content, so you kind of have to go and let it slide. Oh. People will complain, but there's plenty of things that people like. There were a thing called Sparrow Racing, which is literally just racing game within it. They did it once, I think in Destiny 1 they did it once. I thought it was really good fun. It was a different change base, but you never need to worry about racing your sparrows. And it was like you get outfits that actually modify how good you are at racing, and it was really good fun. And it's just like, oh, never brought it back. It's like. It was the whole, because they had like even unique maps they'd made in locations. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, you have to race around this place that already exists. It was like, this is a particular
specific
map. Yeah, it was in a location, so it was on Mars, so it looked like the Mars place, but it was all unique. Yeah. You had like enemies would sometimes appear and start firing you while you're racing around, and it was just really good fun. And some people, like, I'm find it weird because in the game I'm nowhere near top tier of the players, because I've done a little bit of raiding, but usually I'm kind of botting them out at Master Nightfall or something, a Nightfall or something. And I can go with my clan people and they'll help me along, but in terms of what I can achieve my own, there's limits.
For anyone who else is listening who doesn't play Destiny, sparrows are jet bikes.
Yeah, they're jet bikes. They're hovering jet bikes. There you go.
That's about all I understand.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So, jetbike racing.
Jetbike racing.
I think it's sci-fi jetbike racing on like other planets. Is that not fun? It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not quite pod racing in terms of speed, but it's good fun.
Yeah. It's kind of wipeouty.
A wee bit wipeout. It's like a wee bit wipeouty.
Grav bikes.
Yeah, a wee bit wipeouty, wee bit pod racing kind of.
Yeah, because they don't jump. They are like hover bikes basically.
Yeah, so when they go up and go, but they don't like do that.
Yeah,
they don't like raise. They just kind of woo.
Yeah.
And I think some allow you to do tricks. So you can do like little spins and stuff.
Okay,
and some people are like just know how to make them do crazy stuff just for the fun of it.
Can you do a barrel roll?
Do you mean an actual barrel roll?
Yeah.
Or do you mean the barrel roll from Star Fox?
What else would I mean?
Well, they're two different things.
An actual barrel roll?
No. You can do a spin, which is what they call a barrel roll in Star Fox.
Okay.
You can do that. I don't know how, but you can do it. I think there's one that was literally made for doing tricks. And it's all just kind of pure aesthetic nonsense. It doesn't really... Sure, the fact that technically there's a slight speed difference in some of them, so you might get to a location slightly faster, but everyone has them at max speed anyway, so it doesn't really... It's lots of weird inconsequential things that you have in the game. I think a lot of it is a result of development of the first game's development issues where like they had to rewrite the whole game. There's content that was in being Destiny 2 that was originally to be Destiny 1, and there's a lot of stuff that seems to be conflict, which is why it was a very expensive game to make. It was like at the time the most expensive game ever made. Jeez. And it didn't really match up because of the nature of just whatever happened with this development. So yeah, I say segue. It's not really a segue. We're just talking about what we're talking about, aren't we?
Yeah, we're just having a gab.
We're just having a nerd gab.
Nerd gab.
What are you doing? Gabbing.
Nerd gabbing. Yes. Nerding.
We're just nerding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to discuss while we're...
Well, you've been painting trying to tidy up some orcs.
Yeah, jumping into Games Workshop stuff. I had a box set of Lutas and Burnas from a long time ago, and I had enough spare orc bodies to build them as 2 squads. I don't know where the big mech that goes with them is. It's probably unbuilt in a box somewhere, but I'll have a rummage and maybe put that together soon. But yeah, they had a fairly dull mid-tony paint job, and I've been doing my damnedest to kind of upgrade things and make them pop a little more.
For a moment of context, I refer to Jason as being the master of mid-tone.
Mid-tone?
Mid-tone.
Mid-tone. It sounded like you said mid-tone.
Mid-tone. Master of mid-tone. And I'm trying to encourage him to push himself. It's like, do you want me to do highlight in this color? It's like, that's not a highlight color. It's like, why? Because it's a mid-tone color. You need to put some color, you need to brighten it, or here's a different color. So yeah, it sounds mean, but it's generally just trying to...
Oh no, it's good constructive feedback, because even the 3 that I've got sitting on the table that I've touched up the paint tone, the paint job of the skin tones with, I've even made their lips more pink, so their faces have more character. Their skin's got a little bit more vibrancy. They look a little bit more alive, and I'm quite looking forward to going over and just tweaking certain things like the fabric on them, and the weapons need a little bit of work just to make them look a little bit nicer, a little edge highlight here and there. It's a process, learning how to expand your color palette, and I'm quite enjoying it. I just finished my Warcry warband, my Fomeroid Crusher the other week, which are a very, very long work in progress. I played.
Is it actually done now?
That's them actually done.
Is it definitely done?
They only need some top coat and a little bit more blood effect over the top. Yeah, they're done. I've played with them.
Okay, you should varnish them then.
I'm going to varnish them, yeah. So other than a coat of varnish and a little bit of effects paint, that is them complete. The orcs, just some of them have got good solid base paint jobs. Like the Burnas themselves actually don't look too bad as they are. It's just their skin was very flat, and some of the paint on the weapons just needs a little bit of a touch up. The one that's just here, the bandana on his face, I quite like that one. Again, doesn't need a lot of work, but
I think a lot of it for you is in the highlight, and I would also, in general, have they already been varnished?
These haven't been varnished.
Okay, because it's very glossy, so I guess trying to, hopefully once that's got either a matte varnish or a semi-matte varnish, that will help pull it together a bit.
I pointed out to you earlier the gloss on especially the Luta units. I was using a black paint. It was the only black paint I had at the time. Unfortunately, it was a Vallejo game color one, and it is super glossy.
Is it full on latex black?
Oh, it looks like their guns have got like latex casing on them. So yeah, even the strap on the one that you just handed back to me could do with a dulling down.
Even dry brushing a wee bit just to kind of catch some edges.
Yeah, I was thinking just a little bit of edge highlighting and then maybe a matte top coat would probably do the job on that one. I don't want to lose any detail on the little valve on the back either, because I even painted a little gauge on it. But yeah, it's kind of nice going through and giving these miniatures a bit of TLC. And I know when I first built them and threw them together, little things like, when you're building miniatures, I usually like to paint the component parts and then glue it together. The problem with these is because it's big weapons frames that they're wearing, you've got to just glue it together and hope to hell that you can get into the fine details of the paintbrush. By the time I finished the Byrnas, the Lutas were kind of an afterthought. That's why it looks like a 10-year-old painted them. The skin tones are just monotone. It's a flat color. So I'm looking forward to, because I have before pictures on my Instagram. And I just wanted to do a kind of side-by-side comparison of here's what they started off as, and here's what happens when I spend an hour working on each unit. But yeah, that's been quite nice because they're cool-looking models. They've got a nice amount of detail on them, and yeah, just deserved a little bit more love.
A wee segue from talking about GW. Have you looked at the new Warcry sets coming up? There's the two new. There's the chameleon.
The skinks.
There's chameleon skinks and the Jades, like Jade's cultist guys.
I haven't seen the cultist, but I have seen the chameleon skink things.
Are you sure you've seen them?
I see what you did there.
I was worried that they would just kind of blend into the background and no one would notice them. I do like the Jades. I like Zeech.
Yeah.
I will say that Warcry does have a problem in terms of the colours they pick to represent their models. It's very dark and kind of muddy, and sometimes
corn.
It's not even corn. It's just muddy. It's these guys, like they're called Jade, and there's a bit of green. It's like just a bit more oomph would be nice. But I'm not really I don't think our Warcry game group are going to get the box because unfortunately 2 of us lost our jobs. So I think what's probably going to happen is once they release just the new cultists. Yeah, 2 of us. Adam.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I think we'll get it as a separate box rather than getting it in the big Warcry box, because we have 2 sets of Warcry terrain edition and anything else. So I think we're okay for the moment.
Yeah, we should. It's enough terrain and enough battle mats to keep decent games going. We have enough data cards for both sets. So
actively playing, there's only there's only 4 of us. I'm hoping that one of our friends, maybe even this week, he might appear and play a game or something.
Yeah.
But we haven't been playing a lot. Like, I'm just been slow behind in terms of actually painting, but I'm trying to do other stuff. So I'm not really, like, in terms of what I'm painting in terms of Warhammer, I primed and prepped, and I'm going to try and say this right, a Ogroid Thaumaturge, which I probably said wrong. So I will actually maybe post the pictures on our Instagram, because I've not done that because I've just not been active for a while. But I decided to go for like color pre-shading, so it's like low lighted purple and blue and orange. So I'm going to use that I just kind of want to paint it nicely. It's not really about kind of speed painting or anything. I just want to try and make it look almost like a set piece. In the game of Warcry, it's really not that useful other than being tougher than most things. It doesn't really, like, I was talking to someone because I was like, I want to make my Zeech Arcane Knights, and I was wondering to myself, I looked at the rules for the specific army, specific warbrand, and it just feels like it doesn't have enough of the magic flavor technically almost all their range attacks are magic attacks, but you don't really get that in terms of the flavor. It's just a range attack.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like the model, so I'm still going to build it. So yeah, I think the only thing I need to someone I said like best leading it with a Zangor Shaman, which is the only thing I don't have. So I need to get myself one of those. Otherwise, I've got everything I need to make Zeech Arcana warband.
I've definitely fallen into I'm just painting for the pleasure of painting more than anything else at the moment.
Good. I think that's a healthy way to do it.
Especially with those Lutas and Burnas. They're, as I say, they're cool models, and I didn't spend enough time on them. I think it was early during lockdown. I thought, no, I need something to do. And it was an exercise in trying to escape my surroundings at the time.
Yeah, you're part of that resurgence. I see it. I barely did anything during lockdown.
Oh, well, for me, it wasn't so much the lockdown resurgence as a friend of mine got me into it pre-lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I only really just got back into it for the love of painting. You know, it's just something I found relaxing. I think the first thing I really got stuck into was like a squad of Poxwalkers and some of the new Primaris Marines that came in the first Strike box set. And then there was Plague Marines that came with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Plague Marines are just fun to paint. You know, there's that weird kind of biological horror mixed with giant armored dudes.
Well, by the way, one of the birds knocked an arm off one of your Plague Marines that's in the living room. It just needs to go back on.
Great. Again, models and pets.
We do have birds, and one of them needs a new home because it was an unplanned check.
An unplanned pregnancy.
An unplanned pregnancy, and was the only one that actually hatched. So we do actually need to get him a new home.
Yeah.
His name's Andre, which no longer seems that relevant anymore. At the time, it seemed relevant.
But he's still a giant, though.
Yeah,
compared to his mum and dad.
He's about the same size as his dad.
He's bigger. He's got a big head in him.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll get the super glue. Actually, it won't be super glue. It'll be polysement. Yeah. Long pause.
Long pause indeed.
Long pause. Yeah, getting back into the painting is one of those things that I found it was a good exercise for your mental health.
Mm.
Something that a lot of us need to look after better. I know I'm guilty of that.
It's the trouble of the time, particularly. Well, everyone, I think, our age range is particularly suffering from it.
Oh yeah,
the millennial. You know, I know you're spewing at the thought. You're just like, you're raging at that, but you are a millennial. You're just the earliest. But you are a millennial. I'm right in the smack bang middle of it. I'm 33.
Yeah.
The Pokemon is ingrained into my mindset for the rest of my life. No, I am not a Disney adult.
No,
I'm not a Disney adult. As much as I do enjoy Disney things, one of my favorite films of all time is Alice in Wonderland. I absolutely love that film, but I don't have Disney memorabilia. I have a friend who I did work with, who is super into Disney and somehow doesn't make it weird. She doesn't make it weird. For some reason, it's just really endearing on her because she doesn't talk about it all the time, but she'll be like wearing like a shirt or a dress that has like little Dalmatians on it, but you don't like, it doesn't like scream Disney on it. It just, you go, oh, it's got a little, it's like, that's nice. So it's like kind of got a different vibe when it's not like, you know, an adult wearing Mickey Mouse ears on, you going, and obviously that's not what's happening, but you get that energy.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of like, I can't, my childhood was never leaving me, and I'm, you know, feel like I'm still an adult child.
Very adjacent.
Oh, you're going to lose the audience. I think that mention of furries is the normal list. Nah.
Yeah.
You're really aiming.
I'm really aiming. I just had a thought about the paint that you used for the demon guy.
The purple paint that's running low.
Which one? That one.
That one there.
Yeah, I need to find a substitute for that one because it's a really nice purple.
It is, and I use it quite a lot.
So do I.
We need extra. We could just mix something up, but
they don't make it anymore.
Yeah, but we can find. I'm sure we can find.
We'll find it.
The color and the color that we're talking about.
Warplock purple.
Warlock purple, not Warplock.
Is it?
It's Warlock purple. Warlock purple. So we need to either like Vallejo or if anyone has recommendations.
I think Army Painter has
Army Painter. Just anyone really. Anyone who might have something that's similar, because we just tend to use it quite a lot.
Army Painter do a Warlock purple as well.
But is it the same kind of Warlock purple?
We'll find out soon. The hunt for an equivalent.
Yeah.
It's after seeing it on that model, I thought, we need to get an equivalent for that because it's lovely.
This Music Arcanites are all going to be done.
So we're going to need.
They're all going to be done this way. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to try. I'm thinking I might try non-metallic metals, but with weird colors on this, just so the whole thing's like rippling with energy.
Which orange did you use?
I used one of those oranges.
Was it the AK Interactive one?
I can't remember. I'll look into it later, not while we're recording.
Okay, sorry. I just realised how vibrant it was. I was like, that's quite nice. That's stolen for a fire effect later.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you could do it you mean like purple and orange for fire effects. Mm-hmm. Just, I guess, red, a dark red and orange would get the same effect. But you go back, I went back with the purple afterwards, which was in your advice, just so the orange didn't overpower it.
Because the orange was very,
It was a bit, now hopefully it'll be a little more,
Yes. And it looks very apt next to that bottle of Iron Brew.
It does indeed. It does.
But yeah, I think we'll wrap this one up for this episode.
Thank you for listening to our rambling. I'm hoping the sound has been a bit better this time. It looks like it has been looking at the recording. So I'll check over and hopefully things will be good.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Erin, aka at Scribbleimp Instagram, and
Jason, aka Kit Basher Chronicles,
and Broken Unicorn Studio.
Broken Unicorn
Studio.
Is it Broken Unicorn?
Yeah,
Studio?
sorry. Yeah, her Instagram is Broken Unicorn Studio.
You updated it.
Yes, I did. So thank you very much for listening, and have a nice evening.
Yes. Speak to you later. Bye.